Howdy, howdy. I got something at a thrift store today, and I thought should maybe do a video because I'm always thinking along these lines of when I see things and they're affordable, and I think I'm not going to use that, but could I use that? I think inside the box. Think outside the box, but in this sense, I'm thinking inside the box. So it's just a play on words for the video here, but I've bought a couple of games recently: Mothership, Walking Dead, Vase, and Dragonbane, all that kind of stuff. And so I'm thinking all the time about like how I can make them better, whether it's the battle grid or the lighting, things like Shadow Dark. I'm thinking about how to do the lanterns and the lighting and things like that, the torches, if you will. And so I'm thinking inside the box. And one thing I came across was a box. And there's a lot of stuff at thrift stores, secondhand stores, yard sales. And when I see them, I kind of try to think about, hey, that's only $1, right? But that probably costs $30. Or that's only $5 that normally would cost $150. I have no real immediate use for it, but like it's such a waste of profit there for quality, but what's in it, right? So sometimes people will buy, you know, some old china or anything like that, or glass or other kind of metals and woods, and they'll repurpose them. And I'm looking at things in the store, and the one thing I found was this. It's the Walking Dead board game. AMC The Walking Dead, The Best Defense. I don't really care about the board game. I mean, maybe it's missing pieces. I don't really know, right? Like they're not, half the time they don't let you kind of like look into it, right? So it's a shit show. And, same with puzzles. Who knows? You might get that 2,000 piece puzzle done and you're missing like 3 pieces, and it's, but with this one, it doesn't really matter because I'm not really in it to win it for the board game itself. But I want to show you what's inside, because when you flip it on the back and you see what's in it, you're like, that's a pretty cool game, but you know what else? That could be some really good stuff for my tabletop role-playing game. Doesn't even necessarily have to be for the one that you're playing, but you can kind of take a look and say, hey, what could I use from that? Because this was like $5 or $6 Canadian. I'm Canadian. So you convert that to American, that's like 60 cents, It's pretty much free. They're giving it away. And there's a bunch of stuff in here you don't really need, like some kind of a tracking thing. I don't know. I've never played The Walking Dead, so I have no idea, but I do know that this stuff is pretty cool. But we do have a tracking token in here. See the top of my head? Somewhere. And that tracking token is used on this kind of board, right? So you go all the way to the bottom and you won. You escaped, whatever it is. But this round tracking token literally says round tracker. It's got like some blood splatter and everything kind of on it. It's kind of hard to, the bokeh. I don't know. There you go. You could use that passing around the table to the players based on their turn. And I found this specifically is really good for, opening new players to the game, or getting people kind of like really kind of interested, like peripherals and things like that, get people really excited. After a couple of sessions or whatever, they usually fade in the background. They're usually kind of just there to kind of get people's interest, right? The kitschy. Round tracker, though, you could probably use for quite some time. And there's also the sheriff token. You get like the sheriff token from, King County. You could use that as a luck token, a tracker, whatever have you around the board. These are the simple stuff, by the way. There's better stuff coming. Don't worry about that. What we do have here, too, though, is we have these little tokens that represent some of the players, some of the people inside of the game. And I have one put together here. They give you the stands for them. And we have ourselves Glenn, right? And it's a nice, thick cardboard stand. And it's, again, with the bokeh, I know, but this is the thick stuff. And so there's one for each with this little plastic bottom that you can move around the map if you use battle grids or any kind of thing like that. Or you can just have it in front of players for them to see their character. There's one for each one of the characters, right? Michonne, Daryl, the whole gang is here. I think there's Maggie, Andrea, Glenn, Daryl, Rick, and Michonne. They're all in there. You also get one of the actual dice from the game. I don't know, like people pay like $30 for 6 of the in Canada. Well, US maybe $15 for like 6 of these. That's like a $2 or $3 dice right there, and that almost pays for the whole friggin' thing. Anyway, put those aside. You got one of those tokens for everything. I like Dragonbane because it has those kind of like stand up in their front back, beautifully printed tokens here. And it's really good for new players too, because you can give them like their pre-printed or whatever character. Here you got Michonne, here you're Rick, and they have their own like character sheet that matches their actual token, that matches everything else. And another thing that they have in here is these actual character sheets that you would use in the game that has their own abilities. Okay, so there's Maggie. I don't know how close I can get before bokeh starts to kind of mess with it. But you got one for each of the each of the players, right? One for each of the actual characters. And one thing that you can do, I know this has abilities from the actual game on there for like Michonne. What I would do is I would buy, you can print a lot of stuff. You can print for laminating, print for stickers or whatever. I'd get one that you can print and then peel off as a sticker, whether it's already pre-cut as like kind of like a rectangle or whatever, or cut it yourself. And I would print it in the color scheme that matches kind of this kind of card. And on it, I would put some of the basic in-game stats for that character, whether it's Michonne, Rick, whatever it is. Because when it's a starter thing, usually they don't have all the stats. They don't cover absolutely everything, not all the nitty-gritty. Just really fit on it the basic and important stats, or whatever stats you do use if you want to play the actual game. And this can be their character sheet, right? And these are really hard. These are thick, the thick cardboard, right? And so you can actually have a bunch of really premium, really nice looking character sheets for people to use. I know they have like actual printed sheets for them too, but these are really nice. So you really wouldn't even need that starter set. Another thing that they have here, which I thought was really cool, is they have like location cards. The same thickness as those, like the really premium cardboard stock, right? And we have like one for the farm, it's off limits. You got the blood splatter over here, right? And it's this nice, beautiful kind of still from the film, right? And they have one for, the town, if you want to go to the bar or get yourself some groceries, the prison, and the highway, right? And so you can put these on those stands as well. These will sit up in front. You can put in front of your, DM screen or whatever to show them that this is the location they're at. It has a blank back, and again, you can print your own, right? You could like scan this or something, or print your own and then stick it on and create another 4 of your own locales and flip it back and show them that, whether it's a different city, a different town, or whatever the heck it is. And that's really nice. They're really thick, and it really adds to the atmosphere of the game. So you're getting a free dice, you're getting these free kind of locale position images, you're getting what can be very useful character, hard ones that you can pass around. You get the tokens, you get the free dice, you get those other tokens, and they have tons and tons and tons of these cards in here. Tons and tons. These are like for when you actually play the game. And it has from allies to weapons to ammunition to like all these other things that can happen inside of this game. But you can have it so that if somebody rolls a natural 20 or something, an ally comes through. You can have it if they break into a store or find like a lockbox or something. You can have like this random, you can hand them 3 of those cards and some ammo, some medication or whatever, and like a body armor. And that has like shotguns and rifles and all that kind of stuff as actual cards. And you could cut off the bottom that has like the description if you need to. Right, and you can turn this into like a square card or something like that, or more like a square. The bare necessities, right? So this is stockpile 3 non-weapon equipment, and so you could just say that this represents 3 non-weapon pieces of equipment that you'll roll on a table for, or the players can decide or something like that. So you can use tons and tons of the things from this game, let alone just the basic dice that matches the actual game. And again, this all costs like $5 or $6. In the US, that's like basically 2 quarters, right? So, and that's just from one thing. So there's a lot of other things you can find at thrift stores, secondhand stores, yard sales, and people are almost pretty much giving them away. And if you take a look at the back of these, you can see all of the great stuff that you would be able to get from these board games. And sometimes there's very little. Sometimes in some of the Disney ones and things like that, what you're really getting is a bunch of really interesting looking dice, whether that's, Buzz Lightyear or what have you, but there's like color coded or weird images on some of the dice, and you might be just buying yourself 6 really interesting looking, very dice that nobody else would really have at their table, and it might just be like $2 to do it. You might get a couple cards like this. I've seen ones that have like the board itself I could use for a couple of things. That one was really applicable. Like that one there is kind of like very parallel to like what you would use and be very relevant to the game you'd play if it was going to be The Walking Dead. But there's a couple out there that are very relevant for other types of games, whether it's D&D and stuff like that. Old Hero Quest, boxes and stuff like that have a lot of, you get like a treasure chest and all this kind of stuff, and they have their little stands and everything like that too. And those are also very applicable. But with this video, I'm saying that there is a lot of stuff you can get very, very cheap. That box itself probably was maybe $40 or $50 to buy it brand new. And even if it was missing half the stuff, it's well worth, the $5 or $6 that I paid for it. And I've never played The Walking Dead, the board game. I bought the starter set. I got a couple of things. I do want to play it, but you know, I'm a hoarder, and we buy these tabletop books and we just like let them collect dust. So why not collect a couple of other pieces of dust? And the next time you're at some of these thrift stores, secondhand stores, or yard sales, when you're looking around, not just looking for value for what you can wear and stuff like that. A lot of these secondhand ones are missing things, broken boxes. No one's going to buy them. Very few people are actually going to use them anyway. It's absolutely fine to cannibalize the content inside of it and make sure that you use it in your game. And I think with a lot of the content that's in there, if you make a starter pack, you take it to a store, you take it to some youth that want to play or get involved, and you keep things kind of like basic, it's a really beautiful way to kind of get them really drawn into it. Even if it is veteran game players that would play it as well. But I think a lot of the content in there really, really knocks it out of the park for that type of use. So hopefully you found this useful. I don't know if I'll make any other videos or any kind of content. Let me know what you think. And hey, what have you done when you were at a thrift store, secondhand store, or yard sale? You bought something at a real sick price and you found a real nice way to use it in some of your games. Let us know. Let us know in the comments, and I'd love to read it. Thank you.